Welcome
back
to the Union Fitness Podcast, baby.
And we're the three best friends that
Anyone could ever have. I'm Jared.
I'm Kurt. We're back. It feels good to be back in here, man. It's been, like a couple months, month and a half?
Yeah,
I don't really know. I forget. But we have some stuff to catch up on.
Yeah, a bunch of stuff.
A lot of stuff happened. Hope everybody had happy holidays, happy New Year.
Everybody's been safe and healthy with the virus going around.
Yep, for sure. Hope everybody has their plan of attack, we will say, ready for the new year, and things are starting off on the right foot. So what we're going to do today, I think, is something that we wanted to do previously. Jared and I both did a powerlifting meet a couple months ago. His was in, what'd you do, October. You did it Halloween.
Yeah,
yours was on Halloween.
Man, lockdown was long.
Yeah, right. That's why I'm so pasty looking.
We'll get into
that. So, yeah, Jared had a meet on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
It went pretty well. And then a week later, my meet.
Yeah, you were the next one. Yeah.
And so we have a little bit of footage. We're going to do a quick meet recap. We won't spend too much time on it, but we're going to talk about what went right, what could have gone better.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing ever really truly goes wrong because you're always learning something and taking something away from every experience, whether it's good or bad. So just some things to build off of in the future, and how we're going to approach our training going forward, we'll say.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add? We'll start with yours first. Anything you want to add overall about yours before we really get into anything?
Man, I think, so I was really looking, I felt this was probably the best I've ever felt going into a meet, definitely. I think, like, I do like a small weight cut going into my meet. I didn't even really have to do anything for that. Like all my heavy attempts were moving really well in training. No aches or pains, for once. Usually you have something you're usually trying to deal with.
Yep, always.
So, yeah, no, overall everything was feeling really good. So, yeah, best I felt going into a meet, especially on squats. Squats usually like my make or break lift.
Mm-hmm.
I usually go 1 or 2 for 3 in squats.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thug life.
Yeah, and
yep.
I went 1 for 3 in this meet.
Okay, typical Jared fashion.
Yep, right. Didn't change it. But I felt really good leading up to it. So, yeah, I guess we just dive into it.
Okay, let's dive into it. So this was here at Union Fitness.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It was the first actual cold day of the season. So, Mother Nature was like, hey, people have to lift outside. I got you.
Frosty.
Hold my beer.
So this is actually my third attempt. So I got 3 white lights on 429 or something. Then I got 2 reds on 440, and they said the bar was too low on my back. So I went up to 463. So dropped it down, felt like I sunk it, came back up.
So this was your third attempt?
This was my third attempt.
Okay.
So I got 2 reds.
Okay, and this was for bar position?
Yeah, do you remember this?
I do.
So
yeah.
On my first attempt, they gave me my whites, and somebody came up and they were like, hey, I just want to let you know the bar is too low on your back. And I asked what that meant. They were like, it's not allowed to be below your posterior delts. And I was like, oh, it wasn't, I promise, but okay, I'll do something about it. Like, I don't want to get red lighted. So on my second attempt, I put it up higher, like middle of my trap-ish, above my posterior delts. I go down, come back up, 2 reds. Girl comes up to me. I told you had to put the bar high up on your back. It's still too low. I argued with her. I got yelled at by the head judge for arguing. They sent me back, and I was like, screw it, that was easy. Like, I'm going up again.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
So I went for a PR, which was the 463.
And it moved easy.
Moved, yeah, really
easy.
easy. I honestly felt like I could have done 10 or 20 pounds more, no problem.
It looked like a second attempt,
yeah,
honestly.
It
really
felt
did.
so good.
And depth was good. Depth was not an issue.
Yeah, it's fun when you can see depth being good from the front.
Yeah, no doubt.
That
is such a strange thing because, and maybe this is on.
So I talked to them about it because I know my bar position wasn't too low on my back, right?
I've seen it much
and
lower.
All the judges were giving me different reasons, like when I'd be like, no, the bar was right here. Well, it was too low. Well, you were pitched forward. Well, it slid down when you did this. Stu came up to me after. So Stu was taking his ref exam.
Oh, yeah, he was.
And he said he, inquired about it. And he said that it's not that the bar was too low on my back. Because he said he wanted to give me whites for it, but the guy told him no. So he said it wasn't that the bar was too low. It was that I was pitched forward before I squatted, which is like a safety issue.
Okay.
which is fine. Like, I totally get that. I, in my opinion, a little nitpicky, but that's something you should probably tell me the first time, and because I feel like the problem that they told me wasn't the problem that needed fixed.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah.
In my opinion, kind of sucks. I missed a PR that I felt like was easy, but it is what it is. Next time I'll just high bar squat.
Right. That's one solution.
Yeah.
I think it's very tough because I've never been a judge.
Oh, for sure.
And there's a reason that I've never been a judge because I don't want to have to make those kinds of calls.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe one day down the line, but so I can't really sit here and say this or that. But I if that is a legitimate rule, and if that's what they were legitimately getting you for, and they hold that standard to every athlete lifting, because I've seen some athletes that are lifting with the bar way lower than I've seen you lift with it. And so as long as everybody's being held to that standard, you know, that's one thing. Also, if they're getting you for something else but telling you something different,
exactly,
then that's kind of a problem.
So I don't think it was clear between the judges themselves. I don't know. I think a couple people were taking their tests, and one person was kind of saying, like, hey, this was the call, but not giving reasoning for it. So I didn't get exactly the reasoning that they were totally looking for, which kind of sucked because then I couldn't fix it. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And well, I will say that Doug and Candy and their whole crew are always great.
Oh, yeah, no, they're fantastic.
You know, and nobody's going to be perfect, right?
No,
Nobody's going to be perfect. This is still a sport that that we sign up for, understanding that there will be mistakes on both ends.
But that's the thing too. Like, it didn't like ruin my day. Like, I was happy I squatted it. It felt easy. I got red lighted. So what? Like, there's another day to move weight. It's not a big deal.
I applaud you for that. I really do.
Sucks. Like, I technically didn't get the total I wanted or whatever, but like, I mean, it felt good to be able to move 463 like that. So. And
that's the thing to take away from it. You know what I mean? Is you know that's there, and you had a short meet prep too. Right?
Oh yeah, no, yeah. So
it was like 6 weeks.
Yeah, I didn't really have a long meet prep at all.
So to know that that's there when conditions aren't perfect, and it was 40 degrees that day. It was maybe 50 in that tent.
Look at this. She's shaking her head before he even starts to squat. The judge on the right here, watch her. She's shaking her head before he even starts to squat. Like, she's nodding her head, like they're approving the bar position, right? And then look at her start shaking her head no. Like, she's shaking her head no before you even backed out.
Now, that must be, like, torso position that she's referring to, right?
I don't know. I was never told that until, like, Stu came up to me the next day to explain that to me.
So, Jared, coach yourself up. How would you have handled that differently now?
As far as?
Well, I think we all know that at these meets, when you argue, especially after a first attempt, and then a second attempt, you ain't hitting the third, and then the lights are not going to be very kind for the rest of the event.
Yeah.
So coach yourself up. How would you change that?
I guess that's hard on that case because I truly didn't understand what I was being called for because I felt like the bar wasn't too low on my back, so I didn't understand the pitch forward call because it wasn't explained to me. Definitely regretted arguing after my second attempt because I got shooed backwards pretty quickly.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I got told the call was the call, move on, get the heck out of here.
So that's just one of those things where, hey, maybe you wouldn't have done it differently. Maybe you just would have rolled with it. You now know what you know, and then going forward, if you're ever in that situation again, maybe ask more questions.
I think a better way to go about it, though, is, like, ask people, like, don't argue, but ask, like, what can I do to fix it next time? And that might prod a better answer instead of might prod a better answer from people instead of, like, making them feel defensive about a call that they had, which was never my intention. I was just frustrated because I just stopped squatting.
Sure.
So I didn't film my bench. I actually didn't really train my bench at all going into this meet.
Hold up. Was that on purpose? What is this?
What?
Just miraculously did a meet and don't have a bench video.
Oh, it was a squat pull meet. That's it.
When we both hate benching, there's not a bench video.
Actually, I don't have any of the bench videos from the meet, but I didn't get to train bench for the meet, really. I hurt my pec like 6 months back and then just been trying to do stuff to rehab it like the whole way through. So I think I ended up benching like 290 or something, which isn't the the most ideal thing. I hit 315 the other day though, which was nice. So
Good,
back
good.
into the 3-play club. But so deadlift, my goal was to pull 600 or more in the meet, and I finally cracked 600 in the meet. So
What is that on that bar right
that
there?
was 600.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it was the first time I ever got 600 in a meet. Josh was helping me out, and I went 573, went relatively smoothly, little hitch in the giddy up at the bottom, but he was like, just go to 600, like don't go above it, don't go below it, just get it,
Good
and
call.
then if it moves well, we'll go up. And
Yeah.
then I missed 617 afterwards.
Okay.
So, yeah. I was really psyched about that because that was my goal, to hit 600 in a meet.
Nice.
And finally did it.
Yeah.
So
Do you think the weather played a role in anybody's day, anybody's performance,
So,
or yours maybe? I don't know.
Kind of weird. I feel like because the weather was crappy, it kind of took my mind off of, like, I couldn't get in my head as much. Like, I do well. So I just PR'd my deadlift. I think I sent you the video recently.
Yeah.
And so, like, training outside in the snow and stuff, like, that's the best I've ever felt lifting. And I think it just takes my mind off of, like, I don't know, overthinking things.
Interesting.
So I think it actually helped, to be
That's
honest
cool.
with you.
Yeah, that's cool. All right, so taking what you did from the meet, what you got from the meet, what are you going to apply going forward, whether it's mindset, whether it's something physical with your training? What are your biggest takeaways from your performance in that experience?
So for me, one thing I learned is I was super fatigued going into my deadlift from my squats.
Okay.
Right? So, and I don't know if anybody else gets this way. I feel like a lot of people do because nobody ever seems to hit the deadlift they want at the end of the meet. But what my coach and I plan to do now is we now train squats and deadlifts both, like on the same day, to kind of start to build that endurance a little bit. So that was kind of the biggest takeaway as far as physical prep goes. Mental prep, I think it's just trying not to let like calls like that get to me, like with the squat and stuff, and because it does mess with you the rest of the day. It's like exhausting to keep thinking about it.
Exactly.
You know?
That was going to be my question. Do you think that, yes, physical fatigue always plays a role.
Yeah.
But do you think that some of how you were feeling when you got to your deadlifts was maybe what was weighing on your mind with your squats?
Yeah,
and maybe
for sure.
thinking about it throughout the entirety of the day.
Yeah, well, then you start thinking like, well, I got red lighted earlier. Like, I can't be red lighted for this. I got to make sure I do all the things right. And instead of just like, bucking up and lifting,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But enough about me, man. Let's get to you, Mr. 2K.
Well, time out. So what are some of your goals going forward?
So, goals going forward. I'd love to go 9 for 9 in a meet, or at least 8 for 9. I don't even think I've ever done that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Something usually goes wrong in one of the three.
That
so,
would be good.
Yeah. I would love to do that. I think goals going forward, I want to squat within 20 pounds of 500 here soon. I think I'm pretty close. I want to deadlift. So I just hit 635 for a double the other day. So I want
Looked
to
really smooth from what I saw.
Yeah, I want to carry that into a meet and hit at least that or more in a meet. And then bench. My best bench in a meet is 320. I'd love to have that combined with a good squat and a deadlift. I've usually like peaked in one and the others aren't so good. So I would love to kind of put it all together and have like a 480-ish squat, 320-ish bench, and 630-ish deadlift in a meet, which would be nice.
Yeah, very cool. Very doable for you. I mean,
would hope so.
I've seen you lift in the gym and at meets, and it's all very, very doable stuff. So it just takes time.
That's all it is, man.
You
It's
know
just
what I
fun. Like if you're not having fun with it, like if you just get salty about every meet you do because you don't perform like you did in the gym, then it's stupid to go do it because you're just gonna be mad every time. Like you just got to go have fun. In the end, we're just lifting weights.
Yes.
You know,
and you got to be challenged.
Yeah.
That's where the growth occurs, right? Yeah. So no, that's cool, man. It was fun to see you compete in person, and I think Josh did a great job of handling you.
Dude, Josh Conroy's the man.
Yeah. That's the first positive thing we've ever said about him on here.
Probably. We should take it back.
I think so. We had a bet, right? And it didn't matter if it was in the gym or in a meet. I bet you that I could hit 800 before you hit 635. Is that what it was?
Something like that, yeah.
And then you doubled 635 in the gym,
635,
like 2 weeks after a meet, or no,
it was
a
last
month
week,
after a meet.
right? Yeah, a month after a meet. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah,
okay,
it was feeling good. It was New Year's, and I was like, I'm just gonna YOLO this real quick because I felt good, and I picked it up and then did a double.
If I did that right now, I would lose a hamstring, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
That's why you got 3 on each leg.
You got 3?
Yeah, you do. You have 3 on each leg.
Well, yeah.
Biceps
yeah.
femoris, your semi-tendinosus,
If
and
you-
your semi-membranosus.
Right, right.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people forget the tendinosis.
Are you full of shit right now, or is that
No,
No,
that's
you
true.
have
Yeah.
3 hamstrings muscles.
Yeah.
Technically, the biceps femoris has 2 muscle bellies, so you could argue.
4?
I mean, it's 1 muscle, but it kind of has 2 heads on it.
Yeah. Science.
So you got like a hydra for a
So
hamstring.
your hamstring, I don't. Everybody does.
So that's why your deadlift
I'm
is
actually,
so
I think,
good.
missing one on my left leg. I tore it a long time ago.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Huh. So when someone says in sports they tore their hamstring, they got them all, or they got one?
They tore probably one of them.
Yeah, one of
And
them,
usually, I'm pretty sure usually it's the biceps femoris muscle.
Usually the bigger bellies, right? Usually when it
Yeah.
happens. Yeah.
I think that's usually the most commonly torn one.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Fascinating.
It's actually harder to rehab a hamstring tear, like a really bad hamstring tear, than like ACL tears and stuff anymore, because surgeries are so good now,
Mm-hmm.
and people can come back pretty quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, this is why we keep this guy on here.
Stupid questions.
Yeah, pretty much.
Stupid questions get stupid answers. All right, Curtis, show us your meat.
Okay, where do we begin? All right, felt good. I was nervous.
Look, they didn't even address the straps for you.
This was the most nervous I think I've been in a long, long time to compete, because I knew what I was capable of. And I knew for the first time in my life I was going for a super, super big goal of mine that I've had since I began this powerlifting nonsense. This is my 3rd attempt of 804 pounds on the bar. Casey's lining me up. The rack height felt abnormally low, and come to find out, I think they accidentally messed up my rack height for this 3rd attempt. So I had trouble setting my feet. I'm moving around trying to find it, and I couldn't quite get my hips under me. So I kind of over-exaggerated and fell back when I unracked. Stepping backwards with 800 pounds is pretty scary. I've done some really crazy things in my life, and that was probably one of the scariest things that has ever happened to me, because I didn't know if the dude was
Yeah.
going to catch me or not.
Luckily,
So
he did. Thanks to that guy. Do you know that guy?
Yeah, no. you get one re-rack, all right? So I messed that re-rack up. I re-racked the bar. I stepped back under. In my mind, I said, I don't know if I can do this. And I've never said that.
But you had the set of stones to get back underneath it.
I heard my dad, even though he wasn't in the audience, he said, boy, get under that bar. So I stood up with it. I took a breath. I went down. I was shaking like a leaf. And I heard somebody yell, up, and I stood up.
That's just, I mean, to move 800 some pounds like that.
Is there any way we can unmute that?
Is
Can
impressive.
we do that or no? Because the sound of everything kind of just like puts into perspective what was going on. I'm not even going to talk about this. You could hear my wife. You could hear Liz.
Mhm.
She's like, "Come on, you got this," and she 100% knew I could do it, which was the weirdest thing. She said she wasn't really nervous at all.
Even after the
After the
wobbling?
fall, she said
Interesting.
100% she knew I could do it.
I mean, I've watched you move weights before, man.
Go get it,
To be
Carter,
honest
let's
with you, I
go.
wasn't, like, nervous that you could swim.
Your way.
104 pounds on the bar.
Yeah, Curtis. Here we go.
Let's go, Miller.
Here we go, Curtis. Let's go. Show up. Let's go. Go get it. There you go. There you go. Feel the belt. Let's go. Yes. Re-rack. Re-rack. It's all right. Set it up. Get back under there.
Come on, Curtis, you have this. Let's go. You got it. Take a deep breath.
Come on, Curtis. Let's go.
Come on, you have this. Come on.
Come on.
can still kind of feel it, like
Yeah.
in my body.
That's
you know what I
cool.
mean?
Like the weight, like you just feel like a giant weight on you.
Yeah, I can just feel everything like it just happened, and it's so cool. That's probably the coolest thing. You know, I'm not the guy to sit here and be like, oh, dude, I did this or I did that, but to this day, that's the coolest experience I've had in my years of powerlifting, and that right there is what it's all about. Every single day that you don't want to go in the gym, and every time you leave and you feel like a sack of shit, and you're questioning yourself and you're thinking about quitting, and then even your close loved ones don't even understand why you're doing what you do, and it's because of that right there. There's like, however long that was, I don't know. It seemed like it was 3 seconds, but that was probably like 40 seconds. And I want to apologize to the guy who was on deck after me, probably sitting in wraps, waiting for me to get done.
Just suffering.
I want to apologize, but I hope he understands
but
what I
shout
went
out
through.
to Liz for just having your back right there.
Man, that was special. It really was. It's weird because visualization is a practice that is something I try to practice quite often, especially training for a meet. And I did it, I usually do it like when I'm laying in bed at night. I'll go to bed, I'll sit there, and I'll take 5 to 10 minutes, and I will visualize things that I want to complete or I want to be successful at. And all of meet prep, what I was doing is I was visualizing myself in my training session that I would have for the next day. So if I was laying in bed on a Wednesday night and I deadlift on Thursdays, I was visualizing myself having a successful deadlift day. And I was visualizing myself in the cues that I needed in order to perform a successful deadlift. So luckily, I've competed at that facility before, and I knew where the squat rack was going to be. I knew what the crowd was going to look like. I knew where the warm-up room was, the chalk bowl, everything. And when I was getting closer to the meet, I would lay down and I would visualize myself hitting 804 pounds. That I did not visualize it like that, right? When I think of myself and looking back, thinking of myself hitting an 800-pound squat, it never included that.
Yeah.
But that's something, I always talk about, and we've talked about this before, controlling the variables. There's always going to be things in sports or life or whatever that you can control and that you cannot control. You can't stress over the things you cannot control.
Yeah.
Right? But if you prepare to the best of your abilities and focus every day on controlling the small things that you repeatedly can, then when something unexpected happens, you'll be more likely to be successful, right? You'll be more likely to overcome that situation. So I think that's what got me out of that is, I controlled the things I could control, and I knew that if I just took a breath and relaxed and just, kind of set myself back up, that my training would take over and my natural instincts would take over, and that's what happened.
Yeah, I think like going off of that too a little bit, not to rabbit trail while we're in the middle of meet recap, but we talk about variables we can't control. One excuse that you hear for people's goals right now is this virus, like, the gym's closed, like because of the virus, I can't, lose weight, or I'm not going to get any stronger, I'm not going to do all this stuff. That's the same, like nobody can control that right now.
Right.
Like you can still like do something to reach your goals. You just got to take it as a variable that you can't control and control what you can and take step towards your goals in that way.
You're exactly right.
The other thing I want to say, not related to that at all, is in that video, the one thing I noticed is your ability to brace before you squat. I've never seen anybody do it as well as you. Honestly, like
Appreciate
the way
that.
like you fill your belt, you brace your trunk before you go to squat. Like you do not see your trunk wobble at all. And I think people could definitely take notes from watching you do that.
I appreciate that.
And I know you practice it a lot and you preach it a lot, but people should really watch it, especially that video, because that's a max attempt. That's 804 pounds on you.
Well, that's something that my friend and training partner, Jabez Burford, when I first moved up, even before I moved up here, he was like, dude, your unrack is not as good as it could be, and you're not able to tie your lats into your hips. So we worked on my unrack, and we worked on how to expand and fill up and get that bar where I could use the weight of the bar to pull my body down, compress my body, so it's a strong cylinder. And that's a couple years worth of practice that just happened right there.
So when you go to squat and you're about to brace, what do you do physically to brace your trunk before you squat or deadlift?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is your belt position and your belt tightness. I think a lot of people go wrong with being able to breathe or not being able to breathe by how tight their belt is.
So what's optimal then?
Well, I think you need to be able to stick 2 fingers in a relaxed position, right? Not breathing, not bracing, relaxed with your belt on. Sometimes I see belts way too low, like down by the hips. Well, your diaphragm is up above that. So we need the belt around probably like the largest circumference of where our diaphragm can expand into. But relax 2 fingers in the belt. That way, when you take your breath, you can push into it. That was a bad representation because my chest rose, right? But we want to get here, and when I'm taking a breath, I'm not doing this, right? I'm not up into my shoulders. I'm down and out into my midsection.
Yeah, so using the belt is kind of like a cue too,
100%, 100%. If the belt's too tight, you can't feel what you're doing. But in training, I think it's a good thing to leave it just a hair loose, like maybe 1 or 2 notches loose on your, sub-maximal lifts. That way that you can practice putting that air into the belt in the fronts and the sides. So then when you get a little snugger for competition, you're good to go.
It feels great.
Yeah, but I think just having strong midsection muscles, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not talking about getting a shredded six-pack like Jared has, but Jared has a strong midsection. Like, let's not get that wrong. He's ripped and strong. But not doing like 100 crunches a day, Put yourself in a position that's going to be similar to how you're lifting.
Yeah.
So heavy weighted planks, front plank, side plank, even if you need to develop abdominal muscles, thick, strong abdominal muscles, sit-ups, heavy leg raises, things like that. So it goes a long way.
Do you want to? All right. So, come stand right at the edge of the table here.
All right.
Yeah, right there.
Right there?
Yep. There's Sam.
All right. So belt wearing 101. Oh God, I might have picked the wrong belt.
Do you need me to put it on?
This will work.
All right.
Okay. So I see a lot of times people will wear it way down here.
He's right on his hips.
Yeah, right on my hip bones. Now, you see really big dudes do that, like 300, 400 pounds, and I think they do it to keep this out of the way of when they're squatting, right? They're like holding it up so they can hit depth, or so for deadlifting they can get down to the bar. But for most people, this is way too low. We can't brace into that, okay? So what we need to do is take basically the largest circumference of our midsection, and that's kind of where we want the center of our belt. Now this right here is just a hair loose. All right, it's just a hair loose, even though, don't make fun of me, that's the last hole on here, okay?
Jeez, Tubby.
But if I'm using this right now, when I go to breathe into it, if I take a breath and this belt actually starts moving, then that means I'm breathing up high instead of down into my midsection. So if I take a breath and this belt kind of moves, falls down, watch, then I'm breathing up high. All right, breathing into my lungs. That's not what we want. That's basically disconnecting our upper half from our lower half. We want to connect everything like we want to pressurize it like a cylinder, down and out. So when I take a breath and I'm under a bar, I want to fill, not just here, we don't just want to get fat. We're not trying to look dumpy, right? We want to fill out to the front, out to the sides. And then we want to brace into it and hold it. Okay? So that's how we want to use a belt. Now, if I can get that right, then I can tighten it 1 notch, and now I can get a little more out of it. Chris Duffin talks about a soda can. He uses a soda can analogy. Take a soda can, an empty soda can, and put a slight dent in the side of it. If we put it on this table right here, we could push it down, and it would collapse, right? because there's no structure, there's no rigidity. But take an empty soda can that doesn't have a dent and try to push it down, and it's going to take a lot more pressure to collapse it. And that's how we think about our midsection and how we breathe. That dented soda can would be if we tried to squat in this position right here. There's nothing to connect. There's
you have no trunk
rigidity.
stability at all.
And that's where we see not only forward and back, but side to side in the hips. That's where we see a lot of hip shifting going on. Now, I had that problem for a long time. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I finally started to realize how to connect everything from basically my lats down to my hips and pressurize and breathe, I think that's what you saw on that squat.
You can squat 800 pounds.
You can squat 800 pounds overnight.
Overnight.
Yeah.
No, but
So-
and like, don't get it wrong either. Like, a lot of people take that as to mean that you push your belly as hard as you can out into the belt, and that he's not doing that either. Like, he's not just actively trying to shove his belly out, right? He's taking a deep breath. He's using his diaphragm and isometrically contracting his core into the belt. It's all stable. You can do this without a belt too. A belt is just a good cue when you're training, and it does help you. But I mean, I train beltless completely up until like meet prep, just so I can get used to bracing.
Yeah, definitely.
I
I just did a quick video on our YouTube channel about breathing and bracing, and it uses a red mini band, a red micro mini band. You know what? It might not be on there. I don't think it is. I just lied. Yep, I lied.
It's on the Instagram, though.
It's
right?
on our Instagram. Yeah, and I did a blog, and this is another trick that my good friend Jabez taught me, and he taught Liz. Liz has scoliosis, and it pained her to squat for a long time, and then he came over to her and noticed that she wasn't breathing correctly, and it's down a little bit. There it is right there. I think there was a video on our Instagram, but I guess it didn't get put on there. But basically with that red mini band, it's going to give you feedback. It's not enough pressure to really restrict you at all, but it's enough to where it gives you feedback, and it kind of forces you to learn how to breathe.
There it is.
All right, what's up, guys?
God damn. All right. This one's for real.
What's up, guys? Kurt from Union Fitness coming at you. I bet you're wondering why I have this red mini band around my waist. Well, this is a good trick that my good friend Jabez Burford showed me to teach us how to breathe and brace properly for the squat and the deadlift. Now we see this a lot. Somebody will get under a bar, get in a good position, good unwrapped walkout, and then what they'll do, take a big breath into their chest, shrug the bar up, and then try to get in position. Well, what we want to do, use the band for feedback to fill our obliques, our diaphragm in a 360-degree circumference. Take a big breath, push into that band all the way around. That's going to set us up for a big, strong squat. Check today's vlog for more details about how to breathe and brace for a strong lift.
Here's the blog, which shout out to unionfitness.com, the blog section. You guys put out a new blog every day. It's awesome. You should check it out. There's a lot of great tips and tricks and different things in there. So there you go.
I like the finger guns,
lifting.
man.
You like that?
Yeah, finger guns. But yeah, no. So like, I mean, I do use that as a cue for patients. You know, especially with my patients who have like chronic back pain and stuff. You know, I have like you can have 40-year-old women who have back pain carrying a laundry basket or something like that, or, you know, even just going to the gym and lifting weights, and none of them have ever been taught how to do that stuff. And, you know, sometimes people don't need taught how to do that stuff, but sometimes just teaching them how to do it. I mean, someone didn't have pain lifting in the gym. Like, I taught somebody how to brace, like breathe and brace, and they went to the gym the next day and deadlifted and had no pain for the first time in 6 years.
That's pretty cool.
Right? And it was all because of that. That's literally it.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So,
yeah, it goes. It's not just when you're powerlifting. That's life. You know, we were designed to breathe through here, right, through the diaphragm, right.
Yeah, I mean, your diaphragm's literally there to help you breathe.
Yeah, exactly. So, but there's so many things in life, and so many things that we go through that forces us not to use that, and we can control it. We try to, we breathe real high, right? So there's certain things we can do to control ourselves and control how we're breathing. So that's a big one.
Yeah.
I thought there was a ghost in here. It was the...
It's the key. The mystical key.
The key has returned.
Now we can get it. That's why we haven't been doing podcasts.
The
We'd have
key.
a key to get in this place.
So, I think we've
Yeah, I think we
rabbit trailed enough. Let's get onto your bench
All right,
press.
on the bench.
Did he throw 2 of them?
I think so.
He's just throwing, chucking change.
Oh, no.
No, he just tried to put it on their door and it didn't work.
Okay. All right. We're gonna roll with that if you said there were 2.
Yeah.
All right.
So on to bench. I knew I was capable of a 450-pound bench if I was feeling good. And after that squat, I was just so mentally and physically exhausted, I just couldn't put it together. I think this is my second attempt.
This is your make.
Yeah, so this is 430. This is my good
I
lift.
can't stare at this any longer, man. Those legs. You're literally reflecting light in my eyes.
Hey, nobody said you get extra points for being tan.
Yeah.
Do you think they would have given me a good lift on my third attempt if I
I think
was
they
tan?
just didn't know what button they were pressing.
So you can see the bar kind of stop right there. The bar slowed down, and I was so tired. I was having issues transitioning from
Dude, you
from
can
that
see it in
bottom
your
half.
face.
Oh, I was not happy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I had trouble transitioning from that lower half where I'm using a lot of my lats to propel the bar off my chest, and then when I transitioned into my triceps, it wasn't there. I just didn't have it. I was just so tired.
So that was how much again?
That was 430.
Okay.
That was my best bench is 440. So
This is your miss.
this is 451 pounds.
Way to go for it.
Yeah, I knew that if I dug really deep, I could grind it out. I just didn't have that. Some days you just don't have it in you.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything I could have done to grind it out. My form didn't feel like it really broke down.
You were so close right there too.
It just wasn't there,
Yeah.
I just legitimately hit a wall, and we're going to do some things to change that going forward.
So what kind of things do you feel like you need to work on then?
We're going to build some more meat. See those bony elbows? We're going to put some more meat around them to work those elbow extensors, get them a little thicker, so I can transition better from there all the way through the top.
Turn those chicken wings into turkey wings.
That's it, boy. Dinosaur wings. So we gotta
Traposaurus Rex over here still has the skinny T-Rex arms.
So we gotta get some meat on these guys right here, and that's going to help my bench quite a bit. So I think that's been the number one thing that's really been holding me back. I feel like my form overall is pretty solid. I just need to get a little bigger and a little stronger.
So where was Kurt mentally? So you just hit a PR squat, and then you just missed your goal bench press at 451. So like mentally going into deadlift, like where are you at this point before we get there?
Well, my only goal of the day was to total 2,000 pounds. I didn't care how it happened. So I always prepare going into an event with best case scenario, worst case scenario. Plan A, plan B, plan C. So I had it all mapped out to where I knew what I had to hit, even if my squat only ended up being like 765 or something. I knew what I had to hit in my other lifts in order to total 2,000. So by hitting 804, that gave me a lot of wiggle room. So when I missed that bench, I kind of shrugged it off. And this just comes with experience, right? Like as a newer lifter, you're not going to be able to think that way. You're going to be flustered. You're not going to be able to be calm.
But I've done this in the gym 10,000 times.
Exactly. And it's almost ruined whole meets for me before,
Same.
But in this example, I knew that if I could hit the upper end of my squat, which was around 800, that even if I wasn't perfect on my bench, I could still hit 2,000 pounds with a second-ish attempt deadlift. So I knew going into deadlifts, even if I wasn't feeling perfect, I didn't have to hit a deadlift PR to hit a 2,000 pound total. And that's exactly what happened. During my 800-pound squat, I strained my left hamstring a little bit, and it was enough to just be in my head when I was deadlifting. So it was knotted up feeling, and it felt like it was on the verge that like any
It's
second
gonna pop.
it was going to just pop.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had good friends with me and training partners, and they were like, dude, you are right here. Like, if you shut it down right now, you're always going to be like, what if? Like, let's say today is your last meet that you ever do. Are you going to be fine with leaving this meet knowing that you didn't at least try? And I wouldn't have been fine.
Yeah.
So I was warming up. I had to, there was a really good experienced lifter there named Chris Bridgeford. And he was looking at my deadlift, and he was like, look, man, you're a very vertical shin puller, meaning that a lot of the weight is on my posterior chain. He was like, if you can get your shins a little bit more over the bar when you pull, you're going to be able to use a little bit more of your legs. It's going to take a little bit off of your hamstrings. You might be okay. So my last like 1 or 2 deadlift warm-ups, that's what I did, and it didn't feel better, but it didn't feel worse. So that's good enough for me.
Yeah.
So we went into deadlift, and wouldn't you know it, on my opener of 700 pounds, I strained my adductor. And I don't know why. I don't know if it was, you might be able to know. You might be able to tell the people, does straining my hamstring have a correlation with now what muscles maybe are being used in the deadlift? Is that a reason why my adductor was maybe taking more of the load?
Potentially. I mean,
Yeah.
there's always compensation,
Yeah.
especially if your brain's actively avoiding putting tension through your hamstring. You also were at a meet, which means you're maximally exerting yourself.
Right.
So going through all of those squats, like those muscles are already fatigued. Just because your adductor might have felt fine going into deadlift doesn't mean it's not fatigued. And when you're pulling 707, you said,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
might not be your max, but it's still enough weights, especially after a squat like that, to make it go, I'm not so sure.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be 1,000 different reasons as to why it happened. Compensation, fatigue from the day, where you were mentally not being able to get tight, all sorts of
Sure.
things.
It was weird because I've never felt that before, and it kind of felt like Velcro was getting pulled apart, and I was like, I don't know about this. So my first attempt was good. It was slow. It felt heavy, but it was good. And I go over to my training partners. I'm like, so you mean to tell me I only have to pull 60 more pounds, and I can total 2,000? And they're like, yep. I was like, let's do it. So I did it. It wasn't pretty.
But you did it.
You could argue that it might have been a soft lockout, which I don't disagree with. I think I was focused so much on my hamstring and my adductor that when I got the bar past my knees, I was so excited. I was like, holy shit! I think I just did this. That when I lock out, I just completely forget about everything else. And I think that there's a chance that the judges could have called me for a soft lockout on this, but luckily they didn't. But I would have taken it again on my 3rd attempt if I needed to.
He says slow. That was fast by most people's standards. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, my best deadlift is 20 more pounds than that.
Yeah.
And if the stars would have aligned on this day, I think I was good for an 800-pound deadlift as well.
Dude, if you'd have squatted and pulled 8 in the same day.
That's a goal. That's certainly a goal going forward. But I knew I had to get really tight. I had to brace really hard. I had to pull the slack out of the bar and build a lot of tension. My grip had to be right. Luckily, my boy Cody Nygaard in the background was telling me what direction I needed to pull the bar, in case I forgot. So I probably wouldn't have deadlifted it without him, but who knows?
Hang on, we gotta. Cody's up is legendary.
Oh,
it's the best up in the game.
Let's see. You could probably hear him. I think you can hear him in this video.
Come on. Let's go. Lock it in. Lock it in. Let's go. Come on, Vernon. Let's get it here. Come on. Good. Big flagpole. Let's go. Let's go.
That's awesome.
It's like, so.
I mean, he takes 50 pounds on the bar with his words alone.
He did.
He does, though.
I didn't lift that.
Like, I've been at meets, undefeated powerlifter, by the way. Just saying. I've been at meets, and when he yells up, something comes over
Yeah,
you.
for sure.
We're like, up, 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 and like
That's
we
accurate.
all impersonate it. Everybody that's ever lifted around him, and he's watched one of your lifts.
Yeah.
It is as contagious as the Josh Conroy back when you're
Yeah.
benching.
Yep.
Back, because he
Yep.
wants you to go back. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
It was amazing.
A+.
I would not have. I owe him my life. You know, I would not have deadlifted that without Cody Nygaard.
No,
yelling
that's
up.
I saw it get lighter.
Yeah. So all things considered, that was to my standards, that was a average day, and you know, a lot of things could have gone better. Things could have gone worse, but I did what I needed to do. I came in with a game plan, plan A, plan B, plan C, and you know,
Got the 2,000 total
yeah,
done.
Yeah, made it happen. So
Heck yeah.
I took about 2 months off of training after that. So now it's time to get back to work.
So how are you feeling now?
I feel good. My body feels good. It took me a little bit for that adductor to recover.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was feeling it up until a couple weeks ago, you know, and is that a stubborn area to?
Yeah, adductors can be a pain.
Yeah.
Honestly, they just can be.
Yeah. So that was my first time I've ever had to recover for that, but feeling good and have some plans and have some even bigger goals going forward. I think I got a couple more years in this game, so we'll see what happens.
Couple more.
Yeah, we'll see.
Man, I'm gonna be lifting weights till I'm like 97.
I'll be cheering you on.
Thanks, man.
If I'm around. So, well, it's cool. It's cool to see. It was cool to see you up there on the platform. Like I said, I've never seen you compete. Well, I have seen you compete, but I didn't know you. Last year's Iron City
Oh
Open.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was right before I moved up here. So
Yeah, I went 1 for 3.
yeah.
I hit my openers and won the meet.
Hey, sometimes
I took that. I got an award. It was like the certificate for like best lifter.
Mhm.
It was for best female classic raw lifter. They
That's what you
misprinted
won.
it, and that's what I still have it. It's my favorite
Nice.
award I own.
Nice.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
award you own.
Yes.
You mean award you won.
No, own. I own that award. That is my award.
Nobody
you
will
will
ever
not
take
take
it.
that away from me.
Oh man.
Doug apologized to me when he gave it to me. I said, no, this is way better.
Yeah, Doug, you don't get that. You don't get it. You don't get it. So yeah, man, we got some. Man, now that we're back in the lab, back in here, we got some cool things that we want to bring your way. We got some cool ideas going forward. We're going to talk a little bit about accountability and how we can help you with all of your goals and getting where you want to go. We're also, you know, we're going to talk about having good people in your corner and having good people to train with.
Yeah, what makes a good training partner?
Yeah. So, you know, a lot of times it's okay to train by yourself. Sometimes you need it. You need to deal with your thoughts and overcome things on your own. But you're always going to benefit from having good people around you, especially good people who are going through what you're going through and have been there and done that. So that's what some things we're going to talk about going forward. We look forward to being back and to informing you guys with anything that we can.
Again, let us know what kind of smelling salts we need to try
Man.
before we open the
Let's get back
podcast
into
up.
it. Yeah.
And then also, guys, send us your videos too. Like we'd be more than happy to do video breakdowns for you, no matter what it is. Talk about things that we see, or just congratulate you on being awesome.
That's right.
Yeah. So, and then if you guys need help with accountability going towards your goals, I mean, we just had New Year's. Everybody has New Year's resolutions. What you're looking forward to in 2021. DM us on Instagram. Our Instagram handles are on here. You can even just DM the Union Fitness one if you want to. Let us know what your goals are. How can we help keep you accountable, help you progress, whatever you guys need. Just let us know.
It's actually something we're going to be diving into. We kind of have a strategy and a plan of attack for everybody. So next show, that's something we're going to be diving into.
Bada bing, bada boom.
So, guys, thanks again for joining in. It's good to be back, and we'll see you on the flip side.
We out.